Yeah, g'day, Brad from KLR Automotive. Today I want to take you through adjusting tappets on your diesel engine. We've got a Perenti here that is actually first time we've seen it, so we're just going to quickly run over the tappets. Now, this is a task that's often overlooked, particularly with the guys that are doing their own maintenance. They don't realise how regularly you actually need to check your tappets. We suggest with the Perentis, do it as soon as it comes into your ownership, and then check it. To be honest, you don't see too many issues. Every 100,000 Ks or so seems to be all they need after that. But it is important to check it first up. Just taking the rocker cover off here so I can show you what we're talking about. But it is important to check it first up because we do see issues with them. Let's just get that out of there. Right, now you can see what I'm talking about. We've got our rockers here in tappets. I can feel a bit of movement there. That one's actually a little bit tight, so it's probably a good thing we're coming in to adjust this. Running along here, they all feel pretty good. And actually, that one feels a little bit tight as well. So very important that we do this on a regular basis, but before we get into this, let's go to the whiteboard and I'll show you exactly what we're going to adjust. Right, as you can see, I'm no artist, but what I've managed to create here is a diagram of a pushrod engine. Now this is a style of your 300 TDI, your 200 TDI, the Perenti motor, we've just took the lid off. So what we have here is a camshaft with its lobe. That rotates around and pushes a pushrod up. That in turn pushes the rocker arm down and the valve opens up. It's the same whether it's inlet or exhaust valve, same deal. The camshaft rotates more. This all relaxes and the valve closes again against the spring pressure here. Now, what we're interested in is this gap in here. That's where we set the valve clearance. Every manufacturer's got their specification. I'll run you over those shortly on the actual motors. But what can happen over time is wear. We've got multiple points in here, they all wear a little bit, and we can end up with two different scenarios. First one is this gap starts opening up. When that happens, you'll often get the ticking noise. Some of you may be familiar with that. But what's going on there is you're actually reducing your valve lift. So the valve is not opening as far as it should be. You're losing engine efficiency because it's not breathing as well as it should be. The other scenario is where in, say, the valve seats here or the valve itself starts closing this gap up, and it can get to the stage where you lose that clearance altogether and the valve starts riding open, so it never fully closes, and of course you lose efficiency when that happens because you're not building up the compression you should be. So that's basically what we're adjusting today. This is what we need to look at. This is what we need to do on a regular basis. Now that I've covered that with a dodgy diagram, let's go and have a look at what it actually looks like on the motor. Right, so here we are back in our 4BD1 in our Perenti. Now, it doesn't matter which engine you're adjusting the clearances on, you need to be able to rotate that motor. But before I show you that, just a quick rundown on what we're looking at. Obviously a 4-cylinder engine, we have 2 valves per cylinder, so there's 8 valves all up, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, so on to the back. But they're broken down into inlet and exhaust on each cylinder. So we've got an inlet here on number 1, exhaust on number 1. And down the back here, which is what we're going to be looking at a bit closer, we've got inlet on number 4 and exhaust on number 4, and of course it's the same for 2 and 3. So, rotating the motor over, there's a few different ways of doing it, but the easiest way is what I've done here. I've got this front wheel below me jacked up, it's off the ground. We have it in 4th gear, and all you have to do then is rotate that tyre, and you can actually see number 1 inlet starting to open. We've also got number 3 exhaust starting to open as well. Now, according to the workshop manual, we're looking for the valves on number 4 being on the rock. And what that means is we have the inlet, the exhaust will be closing just as the inlet's opening. So they're sort of doing this. That's called on the rock. And you can see at the moment they're both relaxed. So we'll have to turn it over a little bit. And you'll start to see number 4 exhaust here going down. And as I turn it more, and you'll see other valves doing their thing as well, you can see number 4 exhaust coming up, and you just saw then number 4 inlet starting to move down. So we now have these on the rock, and if I look down here at the front, I can see my timing marks, which tells me where top dead center or TDC is, are pretty much lined up. Because what I've actually done is put a little white paint pen mark on each of the markers so it's easy to see. But what we have now is number 4 valves on the rock, which means at the other end here, we've got number 1 cylinder on top dead center, and you can see both of these valves are relaxed. And just to emphasise, when I say top dead centre, I mean we're actually at top dead centre on the compression stroke on number 1, and you can see we can rock those. Right, now for the fun bit, a feeler gauge. Isuzu specification is 16 thou or 0.4 of a millimetre for each valve, inlet and exhaust, and it doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold. So if they're set correctly, we should be able to slide the gauge in there. We can't on number 1 valve, that's just too tight, and I could feel that. Number 2 valve there, or number 1 exhaust, that's actually not too bad. We might still adjust it. And then of course we can do number 3. Again, this is listed in the workshop procedure. That's way too tight, and in fact I can't rock that at all. That might be a riding valve, so that could be a little bit of a problem there. And then down here, number 6 is the other one that we can adjust in this position. And again, I can just slide the gauge in there. That one's not too bad, maybe a little bit wide. So in this position, just to reiterate, top dead center on the compression stroke on number 1, we can adjust 1, 2, 3, and 6. So I'll take you through that now. Righto, now to actually adjust, it becomes a little bit of a juggling act, but on the back side of each rocker, well normally, there's the adjuster itself, and that's just simply a threaded bolt with a lock nut on it. So we've got to loosen off the lock nut and put the screwdriver in there, and then we can actually just wind that up and down. And actually you can just see there as I'm winding that up and down, you can see the other end of the rocker arm going up and down. And all we need to do, and this is where it becomes a little bit of a juggling act, slide our feeler gauge in there, that's set to 16 thou, and we just take that up. Now, this is where it does get a little bit tricky, and it's sort of done by feel, but after you've done it a few times, you'll get it. That's just a little bit of friction on that. You don't want to tighten it down so much like that it jams it. That's too far. It's still got to be able to move in there, and you just should feel a little bit of drag as you move it around. But, and this is where it does get a bit tricky, as you tighten it up, even though I'm keeping that screwdriver in the same place, it can move a little bit, and you can sometimes go a bit tight. So it pays to check it, and that feels pretty good. So that's number 1 done, and the most important thing to do, I just put a little dash down here. That tells me that I've already done that one. You can see someone else has been here already and they've put their dash up on the top there. So that's basically it. That's how you adjust the valve, and we're going to do exactly the same for number 2, for number 3, our suspect one, and number 6 down the back. Right, so that's the first 4 valves done, but before we move on to doing the other ones, I just want to quickly talk about this tight one that we found. We don't get too concerned about it on these engines because we have found quite a lot of them out of military service haven't been set up correctly, and I suspect that, I don't know, people are using a different procedure, using the wrong procedure or something. I don't know what it is, but we find a lot of them are incorrect, so all we do is adjust it for now, and then at the next oil change, we'll actually take the top off and recheck it again. Usually it's all okay. If it's not, then we actually go looking for a problem. Right, so with the first 4 done, all we need to do now is rotate the engine over 360 degrees, and again, this is in the workshop procedure, and we will have a link at the end, so if you're getting confused, don't worry. But I'm turning the motor over, and we just need to go 360 degrees until our marks come back up and line up. And we can see here we've got exhaust on number 1 opening, and I'm just watching down there for my timing marks that I can just see past the fan belt. I can feel that exhaust valve starting to close, which means we're getting close, and we're going to end up with number 1 on the rock. There, the marks lined up. So now what we should have, we can actually see on number 4, we're at top dead center on compression. Both valves are fully closed, and I can rock. That one feels pretty good. Again, this one feels pretty tight. So now we're in this position. It's simply a matter of adjusting the last 4 valves, which will be number 4, number 5, I can feel that's a bit tight, number 7 and number 8. So at this point, we'd normally say that's job done and put the rocker cover back on, but if this is your first time and you're not 100% sure you've got it right, by all means go around again and just double check each one again, just to make sure you've got the correct resistance and you've actually adjusted each one, and when you move them by hand, they should all feel exactly the same. But for now, this one's finished. Let's go and have a look at a TDI. Right, now first of all, don't laugh at my short ass box there, it's a little bit necessary. But here's a useful tip for some of you. Depending on the job that we're doing, and usually when we're doing heads on these, we'll actually let the front tyres down, and that lowers the whole vehicle down about 4 inches at the front and actually makes access much easier. But for what we're doing today, adjusting tappets, 300 TDI, we actually did a head job on this not that long ago, so it's in for its first service, it'll be an oil change, and part of that we're going to check the valve clearances. Now we have here a 300 TDI, it's exactly the same for a 200 TDI, and it's also the same for the older girls, your 2 1/4 litre diesel, your 2 1/4 litre petrol, and not that we see many of them, the 2.5 equivalents as well. So in essence, it's very similar to what we've just done on the 4BD1, where we're checking each valve clearance when we're adjusting it. The first thing to remember though, these are set to 8th thou. So that's 8th thou on your gauge, or 0.2 of a millimetre. On mine, it's probably the most worn out one. A couple of key differences though. First of all, this is an automatic, so we can't just jack the wheel up and put it into gear and turn it. So I've taken the engine fan off. I've got a ratchet on there, a long ratchet with a socket, and I can actually just wind that over, and back up here you can see our valves moving. If you've got a mate to give you a hand, it's probably easier if he gets underneath and he can do the same thing from underneath. The other next difference is we don't actually need to line up any timing marks on the crankshaft. So this one's a little bit easier. We're simply going to be watching the valves. Other important factor, and I'll see if I can open one up here. The TDI engines actually have on them what we call a lash cap or a valve cap. I'm just opening this one right up to take it off. And what this is, it's a little wear cap that just sits up on top of the valve. So this is sacrificial, so this will wear out and protect the valve. Now, we do see quite a few of these wearing away to nothing, particularly in a poorly maintained vehicle. So if you do find an excessively wide valve, chances are this is worn out. Our rule of thumb is if we find one worn out, we replace all of them. They're very cheap, they're very easy to replace. I'll just pop this one back in here. These would have been new ones when we did the replace a head gasket on this, so there's no need to replace these. And then lastly, the main important difference, and what I want to show you is, I think Land Rover's got a workshop procedure for setting these valves, but I've never used it, I've never read it. We just simply apply what we call the rule of 9, and it's very, very simple. As long as you can count to 9, you can do it. So all we do is wind the motor over, and we're watching the valves, and now I'm watching number 6 here, and I'm looking for that to be all the way down. And there it is there, I can just feel it starting to rise. So applying the rule of 9, whichever number adds up to 9 from 6 is the one that we adjust. So in this case, number 3, which is the one I've already loosened off. So we adjust number 3, and then we move on to the next one. And of course, put your dash there with your paint pen so you know you've already done it. So we're watching now number 7 coming down. Almost there. There it is, I can just feel it bottoming out. So that's number 7 down. So using our rule of 9, we come back and we adjust number 2. And actually I can feel that one might be a little bit tight. So get my gauge up here, 8th thou of course. And I can see that's a bit tight, so we need to adjust that. But basically, that's in a nutshell. You just keep moving along, make sure you mark off each one as you adjust it. And again, if you're not 100% sure after you've been through the lot, just simply go through and do it again. But the rule of 9, very, very simple, very difficult to muck that one up. With the TDIs, we find they need to be adjusted much more regularly than you would on your Isuzu. We're at the stage, every second oil change, we're just quickly running over the clearances to check them. Again, if you find one that's wide, have a look for your lash caps and see if they're actually worn out. If they're not, there may be something else going on. I'd suggest just resetting it and then check it at the next oil change. Right, and there we have it. Now, as I mentioned over there, we've got a 2¼ litre petrol here. We've actually just done the valves on this one as well. Exactly the same as a TDI with the rule of 9. You can see we've got number 1 down here, and number 8 has got clearance there, so that's the one we adjusted. So very, very simple. Rule of 9 applies to all of the Land Rover 4-cylinder pushrod engines. 300 TDI, 200 TDI, 2¼ litre petrol, your 2¼ litre diesel. But an important thing, the rule of 9 will not work on the Isuzu 4BD1. They run different cam timing, different valve timing. It simply will not work, so don't do that. For your 4BD1, use the workshop procedure. We've got it up on the website and you basically can't go wrong. Of course, any questions as usual, any comments, go to klr.com.au.